Hello, welcome to Spotlight. My name is Zachary Smith. Today I'm going to be talking about my Yamaha CS1x. If that sounds like something you'd be into, stick around. So here's my Yamaha CS1x. This is a digital synth from the early 90s. I picked it up locally for $50. Didn't come with a power adapter. I just kind of took a chance on it. But it's a piece of gear that's become really important to me and that I really enjoy using. I think it has a lot of interesting sounds on it, and it has a really cool section here where you can control the cutoff and the resonance and have two assignable controls as well as attack and release on your envelope. So it gives you the feeling of an analog synth and the tweakability to just be playing live and have those knobs right there. But then also you just have, you know, banks and banks of sounds, tons of ways to control it. I use it with an Arturia BeatStep Pro, and that really helps kind of give you some way of programming it. It does have an arpeggiator built in, and it does have the ability to control the tempo of the arpeggiator with MIDI. But in terms of sequencing, I don't believe that there's much you can do in here. I mean, the synth, like most digital synths, there's a lot to go through. You can see the way that they've done this. You can see, you know, find things pretty easily and then have buttons to control them. But it's complicated, and for me, it's something I just like to sit down and get a sound with. I'm going to show you my kind of go-to sounds. I have 5 or 6 sounds that I really love on this. So I'm just going to show you those quick. So here you have the ability to go through your presets. My favorite being organ-wise. This compact organ is pretty nice. Whoa, sorry. So that's like a nice aggressive sounding organ that can be kind of cool. Here's a pad called Carpet. So what's nice about the knobs is that they don't become active until you touch them. So say the resonance is already turned up here, but that's not actually happening yet until I hit that, right? The thing that's really nice to just have your hand on is so Carpet, a great basic pad sound. One thing that's nice on the CS1X is you have these scenes, so you can save exactly 2 different settings. So if you have, say, you could have a setting for your kind of verses where you're adjusting live these knobs here, and then hit your chorus and just go. And then back to the verse. So these are scenes that have these kind of things set. And then here's what 2 is under 2. Anyway, so that gives you an idea of like just having, you know, one preset, but then you can get so much by tweaking the knobs, then also having 2 saved parameters there, 2 saved sounds there. Another of my favorite sounds is Detroit. A great kind of string pad sound. Baroque is great. Jupiter. Another great kind of brass sound, but those kind of pad sounds are really where the CS1X is the best, I find, for me. The piano sounds in it are pretty weak. I've tried to use some of the Wurlitzer Rhodes sounds. Never been that convinced by them, but the dynamics and the kind of flowing things that can happen in the pads are really nice. One pad sound that is really kind of dynamic is this trance sound. So that's kind of an idea of some of the sounds you can get that really would carry under something for a long time, and they change a lot. I've used this synth to do some sound design for live theater, and it can be really cool just following, you know, a 15-minute kind of scene, all the things you can get out of one patch, all of the different moments, whether it be really minimal and dark to something that's quite bright and, you know, in your face, expressing a lot of emotion. So the Yamaha CS1X is really great for that. I think you can pick these things up relatively cheap because, you know, there's not a huge market for 90s digital synths, and they're really kind of cool, especially something like this, which is designed for somebody who's coming from an analog background. You know, you have these kind of analog controls on a digital synth. Of course, you also have the ability to dig pretty deep in here, these knobs are, they're not impossible to get to in a live setting. If you know what you're doing and you have kind of circled what it is that you want to adjust. I've kind of got used to adjusting the arpeggiator. I've got used to adjusting a couple other things, and then it can get pretty quick getting to those things just the way they have this laid out. There is some kind of funny MIDI things that you need to sort out. I haven't really figured out what it is. But with the Arturia BeatStep Pro, I've had some problems kind of getting the MIDI to control properly, and while not controlling other things, because there is a drum machine in here, and so I was having some trouble getting the drum machine turned off. But eventually I did. I don't know exactly what I did. It was just a matter of pushing some buttons, and eventually it went away. So some pros on this Yamaha CS1x. I think they're pretty affordable for what it is. It's really great for some pad sounds that you want to just kind of fill things in, to keep a nice kind of vibe around everything. I think the sounds, if they're really kind of turned up in a mix or really kind of in your face, they can get a bit hard to take. But in terms of a sound that's going to just fill in a mix or ride underneath something, it's really great. And just having the tweakable kind of filter cutoff, tack and release, and a couple of assignable controls, you really have a lot that you can get out of it without dealing with the menus and all that. Cons are that it's probably an old piece of gear that'd be tricky to fix. For me, it's worked perfectly. I've done a few tours with it. I've done lots of stuff in the studio with it, and I find it pretty reliable. And it's a pretty cool piece of gear in terms of the sounds that you can get. In terms of it being something that's unusual, it doesn't sound overly processed. It has kind of a bit of a analog vibe, but it has that kind of digital, I don't know I don't actually know the bit rate, but it has that kind of 16-bit digital sound, where it's a little bit compressed or a little bit funky, which is actually nice. Sometimes when you pull up a plug-in synth, it sounds too kind of polished, or the pad just doesn't have the right vibe. With the huge influence of kind of 80s sounds right now, this synth is a great option because it has all of these kind of 80s, early 90s pad sounds that everybody wants. So in that respect, it's pretty cool. Thanks for watching. My name is Zachary Smith. Please like and subscribe. Have a good one. Bye.